Welcome to the Up Arrow Podcast with William Harris, featuring top business leaders sharing strategies and resources to get to the next level. Now, let's get started with the show.
Hey everyone, I'm William Harris. I'm the founder and CEO of Element and the host of the Up Arrow Podcast, where I feature the best minds in e-commerce to help you scale from 10 million to 100 million and beyond as you up arrow your business and your personal life. Today's guest is someone who didn't just spot a problem in e-commerce. He built a business to solve it, scaled it, nearly lost it on the weekend of his wedding, we'll cover that, and then rebuilt it better than ever. Erik Christiansen is the co-founder and CEO of Justuno, the platform trusted by thousands of D2C brands to capture more revenue from the traffic you're already getting. Before founding Justuno, Erik was an e-commerce operator himself, growing his own store to over 20 million in revenue. And along the way, he discovered something most founders learn too late. If you don't engage visitors while they're on your site, you've already lost. In today's episode, we're unpacking the 3-step revenue framework that's helping 8- and 9-figure brands scale smarter, not just louder. Erik Christiansen, welcome to the Up Arrow Podcast.
William, thank you. Quite the intro. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to my heart friend, literally heart friend, an amazing karaoke singer, Dilyar Asghar. He's the one who made the intro so we could bring this knowledge to the world. Thank you, Dilyar.
Dilyar. Has he launched Dilyar.com yet?
I don't know. We might get in trouble for mentioning that, but I know that he's around the corner from doing that. Yes.
But we didn't say what it is, right?
No, that's true. You're
that?
right. But it actually means heart friend. For those that are wondering, that is literally what his name Dilyar means, heart friend, which I thought that was pretty cool. One quick interruption, then we're going to jump right into the good stuff here. This episode is brought to you by Element. Element is an award-winning advertising agency optimizing e-commerce campaigns around profit. In fact, we've helped 13 of our customers get acquired, with the largest one selling for nearly 800 million and one that IPO'd. You can learn more on our website at element.com, which is spelled ELUMYNT.com. Okay, let's rewind a little bit. You were running your own e-commerce business before you started Justuno. What was the pain point that made you say, I got to build this myself?
Coupons. Simple coupons and a desire not to pay out affiliate fees to RetailMeNot and other coupon websites.
Okay.
And also the fact that we knew our visitors that would leave and Google Sierra Snowboard coupon code would come back and they had a sales conversion rate between 8 and 11%.
Sure. So, okay. So you were running your own store, but then you self-funded Justuno. You recently built the platform after scaling it once. Why did you rebuild it?
That's the question you can ask any SaaS.
Yeah, that's true.
CEO founder, like, why did you do that, or why didn't you? We did it because we wanted to be able to build faster. After 10 years, our platform hit a point where we had too many choke points that were holding us back from growth, scaling the product feature set. So that's one of the main reasons.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people don't realize is that even when you're investing, a lot of times you'll see people talk about you're not investing in the idea as much as you're investing in the founder, because the inevitability of a pivot down the road is high, right? 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And that's true for systems, right? Like things change, the systems change, what's working changes. And so there is need for that ability to say, is what we're doing the same thing? Blockbuster would have had an opportunity to make some changes, right? And so it's like being able to see that, recognize that, and make those changes. I think that's huge.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Ben with Privy. He was pop-ups, then he added SMS email, and was able to tack on transactional revenue, expansion from the current customer base. And so that's something we're always looking at ourselves is, and most companies right now in today's market is, rather than going after new business, how can we expand our current business?
Yeah. I want to talk one more thing about like your journey before we dig into this revenue formula, because I thought it was pretty interesting. You almost ran out of cash for the business right before your wedding, like 2 weeks before the wedding or something. What was going on? And like, how did you solve that then?
How did I solve it?
Yeah, like, I mean, 2 weeks before your wedding, I mean, your wife's probably just like, no, we got to go like, buy cake or whatever is going on, right? And you're just like, no, I have to handle this.
Yeah, one is you understand what roles you fill in life, and work, husband, parent, and prioritize importance and urgency. And sometimes you have to balance those out. And this was definitely a balancing act. You being a self-funded company, you're always, you don't have millions in the bank.
Sure.
And so it's all about cash flow. That's you're not a true owner until you've been responsible for payroll every 2 weeks and having that money in the bank and making payroll. And for us, we were growing our team, reinvesting, but we started to hit a point where, the day of our wedding, the Saturday, I had payroll coming the following Wednesday. The funds were going to be pulled, and we didn't have the money for payroll. And the way we solved it was through lighter capital. We did a SaaS loan through them, and it helped us. It was very expensive, but it saved us.
Yeah. I think cash flow is one of those things that's just underrated for a lot of businesses. Like you said, you get going into it and you're like, well, I know that I'm selling this for more than what it cost me to make it, but I don't get the cash until 30 days or whatever it could be from this platform. And so you're like, the cash flow can just get really tight. And you don't realize that. And it's not a problem a lot of times when you're smaller, when you're just getting started because you're just hustling. But then when you get a little bit bigger, you can really start to feel that crunch.
It's really the difference between, it's night and day between a self-funded company and a funded company.
Sure.
Here in the Bay Area, especially, and having lived through the last 15 years in San Francisco and watching companies come and go, and the lack of understanding and respect for cash flow. It's been refreshing to see, VCs now even talk about the word profit. Businesses are forced now to actually 100%. Respect the dollar and learn how to build a sustainable business.
It's been refreshing. I agree to see that, where it's like, oh, there's a lot more focus now on cash flow and profitability. And you said there's a big difference between being self-funded and being VC funded. Would you still go the self-funded route? And if so, or if not, why or why not?
I've thought about this because now that I just turned 47, I have a family.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. At this point in my life, I would go funded because I know what it's like to go through not just risking your own money, but also the stress and strain to have no money in terms of operations. So I, at this point in my career, would rather put money in the bank and really accelerate fast and go that route. If I was young, I wouldn't do it any other way.
Sure. Yeah. That's a good point. The life stage that you're in almost can determine which one of those makes more sense for you. I want to dig into this 3-step revenue formula that you've put together. The landing page that you sent me, is this officially live, or am I seeing like the backdoor version of it, or is this the real one?
That's my mind that I put together and sent it to the designer.
Okay.
After running it through, of course, Claude and ChatGPT, and then taking 5 versions and putting it into one, and then putting it back into ChatGPT and pulling it out, and waking up at 5:30 this morning, scratching my head, and being like, "No, I really should adjust this." And because, what you see is what's going to be live next week. It's what we've been building the last 3 months, and it's really 15 years worth of running Justuno and learning, and the last 3 months being very much hands-on and reshaping our company now that the new platform's live and current where we are in the current market. It's pretty exciting.
Take me through it. It's capture, identify, and convert. Take me through briefly, like what just define each one of those real quick for me and why they matter. But then what I really want to know is, what was the epiphany? What was the moment that you were like, oh, this is what's been missing. This is it.
The epiphany. The epiphany's been there, just for one reason or not. I have not been hands-on to like deliver this.
Sure.
And where it comes from is understanding the what customers' needs are and their concerns, and how to make them happy. And clients today, they care about performance, about time to go live. They want it done for them, and they don't want to commit too much. And And so if you can say, I'm going to solve this for you, this problem, and just say yes, and we'll get it done, businesses are much more likely, and agencies, to say, yes, I want to work with you.
For sure.
And so the other side of it too is, what is the problem that we're solving? And the problem that I've recognized that's been this underlying issue that we haven't just hit straight on is the simple fact that every day visitors come to websites and they don't buy.
Mm-hmm.
And for the last 10 years, if you look at the statistics of cart abandonment rate, anonymous visitors, new versus returning, 97% of visitors don't convert, 95% are anonymous, 80% of shopping carts are abandoned. Mm-hmm. And all of this equates to the opportunity of $18 billion. Like retailers are leaving $18 billion on the table every year.
A lot of money.
So how do we create a formula that is, we're taking this overwhelming problem that conversion is not an easy thing to solve. So what we've done is we created a highly effective system, like a 1, 2, 3 to solve it. And we've broken it down into 3 main categories.
Within these 3 categories, where do most brands lose the most money?
On-site real-time cart abandonment promotions.
Okay. And so cart abandonment has been a problem from the beginning of the internet. We've talked about it a lot. How is it still such a big problem that people are not addressing it? Are they addressing it and just not addressing it well? Are they just not addressing it? Like, what's going on?
Isn't it insane? It's insane that you can go to, I am hands-on working with some of our best clients right now. And I'm logging into their accounts and I see they don't have a cart abandonment promotion live. I say, look, we're testing an action sport brand right now. And I said, hey, look, don't give me all your traffic. Just give me 30% of your traffic that's abandoning, either browse abandonment or cart abandonment, and let me test. Okay. And we put up the exit offer. You can see immediate results. Traditional, the average of the average percent is 17 to 22%. Someone that adds an item to the cart that they will convert. If we engage that visitor in real time, we can ratchet them up to 35%.
That's a massive difference.
And anyone listening to this podcast, ask yourself right now, are you running a specific promotion for people abandoning carts or viewing products right now? Mm-hmm. The answer is no. Turn one of these on, you will see an instant increase in sales. And this is well supported based off of the known email marketing flows. The number one revenue generating email marketing flow is cart abandonment emails.
Sure.
So if we've proven it off-site, why aren't we doing it on-site?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer to that question, I don't know. It's because I think the market, people are trained by, where is the money for the outside service agencies and the ESPs? They need them to send more emails, and they want to show revenue. And conversion has always been this black box, an overwhelming thing that people, either no one in the company owns it, or it's an afterthought, or it's so cheap to acquire new customers and do the offsite marketing. Customer acquisition costs used to be really cheap. But forget the past. Let's look at where we are today, because we can solve it. And we are.
So you've said that the biggest low-hanging fruit in D2C, for the most part, is still cart abandonment. How are we solving that on site then? Is it just a coupon code, or are there more other creative ways? What are some of the best ways to solve for that?
Well, obviously the coupon code is going to be the number one.
Sure.
Without fail. So if we then step back and look at consumer psychology and understand all the different reasons people abandon carts, you can speak to those without discounting. Shipping being the number one concern. when it comes to cart abandonment. You can run dynamic promotions based off of cart value, whatever. You can speak to that consumer to keep them on the site. Let them know you understand their needs. And it varies with every business in terms of what the details of that are. Mm-hmm. Whether it's like, can we expedite your shipping? Speaking to those needs. Those are things that can keep someone on the site, in the funnel, reduce bounce rate, increase page views, and get them through the funnel.
Mm-hmm. Outside of a coupon or shipping, let's say that this is a high AOV product. What are some other ways that we can personalize this for them?
So obviously, free gift with purchase.
Sure.
If they're buying a high ticket item, reinforcing the warranty, reinforcing the customer service, reinforcing the fact you understand this is a big ticket item. Like, you're probably going to view this product page 5 to 10 times before you make this purchase.
Sure.
Ask them, what's holding you back today? You can ask that question in a pop-up. Hey, you're leaving. Is there anything we can help you with today? And offer shopper preferences of buttons. Is it shipping? Mm-hmm. Is it warranty? Is it, payment? We have 0% finance with a firm. Speaking to the consumer in that regard.
I like that, because it feels like when you're in a store and you're not sure what to buy, going to just, a regular store, the inevitability of somebody seeing that you look lost, saying, can I help you find something? Is there some way that I can help you? And can I help you with something? It's very high. That's a very normal thing. And so I can imagine that if you're browsing a website, there are times when we feel the same way, where it's like, hey, if somebody just said, can I help you with something? You're like, actually, yeah, I do need some help. Maybe you don't. Maybe there's a lot of people that don't, but some people do. Have you noticed that there's a difference in the pop-ups effectiveness when it's almost like accompanied with some, like the face of a person that's like, hi, let me help you, versus just like a generic pop-up where it's not associated with a human being?
In terms of human and face and connection, I'd be lying if I gave you an answer on that.
Sure.
What we do know is it's all about engagement. So when it comes to lead capture, we just finished an A/B test with another action sport brand where we had their traditional form field get 10% off against a shopper preference. So they had 4 main product categories. And so we presented, hey, what are you interested in today? Would you like 10% off one of these categories? And then when they click the category, we're able to store that hidden value and send it back over to Klaviyo to then put them in the right email marketing flow.
Sure.
Along with increase the lead capture by 114%.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. From our 2-week A/B test we ran, we went from 1,600 emails on the control to 4,100. And that's not just 4,100 emails. That's 4,100 emails with the shopper preference tagged to it.
Mm-hmm. So it has higher relevance. There's more likely that they're going to feel like you've actually connected, you've understood them. That helps with a lot of things. What are some other examples of case studies like this? I think you'd mentioned one about an increase in SMS, like 80% or something like that. What am I thinking of there?
So as we go back to the revenue formula, like what's different, what's the epiphany is, so Travis, my co-founder, and I, we've been working together for 15 years on Justuno, and then 5 years building the snowboard company. So for 20 years, we've been working together. And 3 months ago, we finished a RIF, unfortunately, with our company, and it forced Travis and I to really get more hands-on. And so the last 3 months, we've been back to like startup mode. And it's been really it's been a really, interesting time for us, like really getting our hands dirty again. And then we realized how much we love this stuff. Yeah. And we've been working with a bunch of clients. And so what we've recognized is that, us working in our product with clients directly, there's so much learned value. And that's what we see with some of these young startups is you have like, it's a new company and you have like young, fresh minds. And so they're super proactive and, 15 years, it's natural for us not to be as aggressive. Well, we're kind of had this, my kids are older now. And now we have this like force to like get into it. So long story short is that when you have Travis and our minds on a project together, like we've been running a company, you as founders, you start spreading apart. We've been like back together. And with this one client, we recognize that with the SMS form field capture page, because you have email and then SMS, on that frame, we removed the no thank you and then had the close button up top continue to the success screen. That simple addition increased them from 50 to 80% phone number submission rate.
Wow.
So what we're doing is Travis and I are taking the learnings from every client in this revenue formula that we've been beta testing and applying it to our templates and every other client. And so we way overbuilt our platform. So we brought our platform way back down and focused in on the best possible lead capture for email and SMS with traditional form field. So like 1 to 3% is industry average. We now like to peg it like between 5 and 15%. And that's not better. Percentages aren't the best way to go about it, because when we talk about vanity metrics, I can get you to 20% by hyper segmenting. So it's better to say, we're going to like 1 to 2x your current list growth.
That makes sense.
Simply by, these tactics with what we're learning. So then by building out these templates that are hyper scalable, so I'm working with the designers hands-on to like think about design theory and scalability. How can we design something with different containers that have use cases and then visual branded elements that we can swap out easily that will make every client happy for speed. And then you look at the latest and greatest with the anonymous visitor identification. So not only are we leading with the best practices lead capture through forms, we are now able to identify and build your email lead capture with 20% of your anonymous visitors.
Wow.
Those we're able to capture high intent visitors and also bring those into your email retargeting. And then we finish this with cart abandonment in real time and also bringing back the highest quality and quantity email leads back to your site.
So a company like us, Element, we're running the ads for you. We're running, ideally best traffic we can to your website. We're getting them there. We're saying they're qualified. They have self-qualified themselves to a point, right? Like they liked your ad, they engaged it with it, they've clicked on it. Like there's some qualification that's taken place there. But they're leaving for whatever reason, right? They browse, they leave. And so you're saying, okay, great. Before they leave though, let's at least capture them. Let's identify some of the other anonymous ones that we couldn't capture. Now we have something that we could try to convert. We can convert, like you said, potentially twice as many people then. That makes all of a sudden your advertising campaigns that much more effective as well. And so if we're running right on the rail of what you can afford from a CAC standpoint or an MER standpoint, now if you're getting, 1.5, 2x more, we have the ability to scale and be a lot more aggressive on the advertising side too. So you're converting more, which gives you the opportunity to convert even more then down the line as well.
Exactly. And that's why we love working with agencies, because we can fill your bucket up more.
Yeah. What about within the capture, identify, convert sequence that you've figured out here? We talked about convert being one of the most important ones. Within the capture and identify piece, what are some of the more unique approaches that you've seen either your clients take or that you wish somebody would take that you're like, I really want to make sure that we're doing this to help capture or this to help identify?
Well, that's where we get into, like, we have our foundational revenue formula where it's, 1, 2, 3. And under the conversion side, that's where, I mentioned we have cart abandonment and then we have retargeting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when it comes to conversion, there's unlimited optimization you can do. And so we do have I mentioned A being card abandonment, B being retargeting. We have C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, and all the way up to Z of strategies that we can deploy to engage visitors. And so you talk about like bringing traffic in. That's when we get into visitor segmentation, which email marketing has figured out. Right? You have all your different, email marketing segmentation that you're sending to. We want digital marketers to think the same when it comes to on-site. So if Element's running ads, let's say Google paid ads, and that traffic's coming in, we want you to engage that traffic with unique promotions because you already know who they are. So personalized promotions. That's one element. So understanding your visitor segments, traffic coming in, speaking to them in a personalized manner.
And I love that. I want to hit on that one before you go to the next one, because it reminds me of back in my SaaS days. So before I was in e-commerce, I was in SaaS. And we had, I'm drawing a blank on it right now. Whenever you launch an app, you still use it all the time, whatever. What am I thinking of? Whenever you launch what's that?
When you
there's like a website that you go, I can't believe that I'm
one where it rates them, where you get popular ones.
Yeah. What am I thinking of?
It'll come to me. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. So anyways, right. And it's like, so anytime, I can't believe I can't think of that. It's so annoying. But anytime
the one that everyone wants to get on, it's like the hot list.
Yes, exactly. Like the hot list, which, yeah. But anyway, so you're there, you get ranked, traffic comes from there. You already know something about them that they came to you from this. So they're experiencing things a little bit differently. So there was an opportunity for you to engage them differently. And so it's like, use like the hello bar at top. We would use different things to make sure that your experience was different.
Yeah, the hello bar.
You remember that, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Ad shoppers back then.
Yeah. But like you said, it's a unique, something about the traffic that's even come to you now. So do something different that's for them.
Here's the thing is, it goes back to Donald Miller and his story brand framework. It's like understanding the problems. The problem is 97% of visitors that come to your website leave. Right? So how do you reduce that? The second is it's so overwhelming to try to create an experience for all the segments.
Yeah.
And all the different interactions, millions of different interactions happening on, a single day on some sites. So that's why we say, let's start here with foundational lead capture, foundational identity, foundational conversion. And then let's 30 days in, let's start ticking away.
Yeah.
Let's find out what's your number one abandoned item. You talk about AOV. Let's look at what products are being abandoned and start thinking about, okay, well, that's where the money is.
Sure.
So let's chase the money. It all comes down to sales and retail and money. Just like with advertising, you're looking at margins to see which products you want to advertise, pay money to advertise, because you don't want to market a $3 sock.
No, doesn't make any sense.
Right? You want to figure out where the money is. So then, with what's C strategy. Well, guess what? I want to figure out which product I want to take from a 30% to a 35% sales conversion on your site. And that's where you mention when you get into the high AOVs, what's unique about this product? Because certain clients, they offer different warranties. They offer different free gifts, etc. So really kind of go one layer deeper. And I'm taking the mindset of in working with specific clients is, if I worked at this company, what would I do? And that's where it's kind of like exciting to be back in the retail trenches of like, this isn't my company, but if they allow me to come in and think about it that way, they have a partner that's like going to make them more money. I almost wish I was working for a single retail store so I could go in and like do this, but
totally
for a bunch.
So I looked it up. Product Hunt. That was what I couldn't think of is Product Hunt. But it reminds me of the idea. It's like, let's say that you ran a coffee shop, and I'm just thinking of this off the cuff, so it might be a stupid idea, but we'll say it anyways. I haven't thought it through. But you run a coffee shop, and you were hosting, an open mic night for poetry or something, right? And the people who are coming there because they're interested in poetry. if you actually did something else at your coffee shop about poetry that night, right? Where it's like, hey, all of your drinks are, named after poets. You're like, oh, like such a small little gesture. Now that people are just like, hey, you need to buy, the Edgar Allan Poe, blah, 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 right? And you're like, it's such a small little gesture, but you already know that about the people that are coming there. So why not differentiate that? What are some other ways? Let's say that we're going beyond foundational. $10 million brand, they've got foundational good. You've already optimized their foundational. They got A through G. What are some of those other smaller things you're like, hey, maybe you should think about, S, T, and R here a little bit?
Return visitors. Someone that has left your website with a product in their cart, when they return to your site, being able to present, hey, here's your cart. Is today the day? Sure. like when I was shopping for Away Furniture, I must have gone to that product page, like I said, 7 or 10 times. And like, if they had just been like, look, Eric, we know your first name. Like, we know where you live because we can do data enrichment. It's like, we can have this to your house by Friday. If you, plus we'll throw in free shipping. Click now, let's get it done. That's one. The more very realistic is the dynamic free shipping banner. So when someone arrives on site, we have the banner up top where we're communicating various things. Oftentimes it's free shipping with orders over $100. Well, as soon as you add an item to that cart, we're going to dynamically update that. Let's say I add a $50 item, say you're $50 away from free shipping.
Mm-hmm, sure.
That is a highly effective conversion tool.
We like to win. Like it's almost a game, right? And it's like we get there, you're like, hey, you're 50. You're like, I can do that. That's pretty easy. I can just click this button and now I'm there and I win, right? Ding, ding, ding.
So what's unique? So getting back to the reason why this doesn't happen. I'm curious your thoughts on this, being on the agency side and frustrations you might have of like, look, I'm driving this traffic to your business, but you're not converting it. Is that we are part of the on-site experience. Mm-hmm. So if something goes wrong, leadership sees it. They're pinging, somebody. And also companies don't have, I like to call them CROs, like chief,
sure.
A conversion officer, not a revenue officer, but like, I want conversion. I want someone in the company. And so things don't happen. Sure. Who do you work with? Like brands that you're working with, larger brands, and they're looking at your performance. They're saying, great, you send us this traffic, this paycheck, but look how many sales you got us. Mm-hmm. Like, we're going to move on to another agency. How do you have those conversations? Not to turn it around, but I'm kind of curious.
No, that's a good question. So I can't speak to other agencies because I've actually never worked at another agency before starting my own, right? So I know how we do things. For us, that's the whole reason why we have growth strategists that are a layer above the media buyers. And so I don't consider ourselves to be media buying agency as much as a growth strategy agency that builds off of media buying. The growth strategist job is to look at the P&L. And when I started the business, at the time, I was the growth strategist, and I remember people saying, oh, they don't understand my business. And I thought, that's interesting. Do you mean the niche, or they don't understand business? And I found out that a lot of times what they really meant is they just don't understand, like my agency didn't understand business, right? Like go beyond the niche. They didn't understand what was the P&L, what was profitable, what was actually helpful to the business. And so by making sure that all of our growth strategists are trained on understanding on if what we're doing is driving the business forward from a profitability standpoint, it makes a difference. And so we're looking at things well beyond the paid media side of things. We're looking at CRO. We do not do CRO, but we're looking at your conversion rate. We're looking at your email. We're looking at your influencers. We're looking at a lot of other things outside of our purview, because that's what the growth strategist's job is to do, is to say, not even just on your website. So I'm going to take you back to another example. There was a golf club brand that came to us, and he was like, I have fired 9 agencies in 9 months. It's a red flag, first of all, but but nobody could figure out what's wrong with our Facebook ads. And I looked through his account and I was like, It's a beautiful account. Like, I actually don't think there's anything wrong with your account. Started looking offline, and around the time when he saw this dip in performance, there were a couple of really bad reviews on YouTube that had millions of views on his against his product, right? And so your conversion rate issue had nothing to do with your website or your price or your offer or your actual setup or your ads. It was something going on not even within your control. So now, how do we work backwards from that? How do we, reach out to those influencers, see if we can get them to do a different review, find some way to kind of fix these things. So coming back to your question, like, our goal with our strategists is to think way outside of all of the normal things you're seeing, not just within the paid ads. And so when we see that there's an issue from a conversion rate standpoint, that is what we call out. And we say, we're doing this, this, and this for you, but here's the opportunity cost. And I think, to your point, the reason why a lot of brands maybe don't get on board with this is because they say, yeah, I know that we can always convert better, but like, I don't know, it's kind of like industry standard, isn't it? Like, you're never going to convert 100% of people. And you're saying, but if we can convert 10% more, just 10% more, we'll be able to do this with your numbers. And when you can show them that opportunity cost of what is possible, then I think it makes a little bit more sense. And so I think that a lot of people struggle with actually quantifying in real financial terms what that means.
The business mind.
Right?
That wasn't Tyler by chance. You're talking about millions of golf video views.
I would never say who that was or wasn't.
So that's really interesting. And it's, I think what's fascinating is tracking it down to a negative review. Everything is intertwined.
Yeah.
In our industry, and the on-site experience, again, has been this black box that no one's really been able to craft something that works for the general public in a way that we can plug it in and see some immediate impact to sell the teams see the light of like aha moment of like, oh man. And then, like you said, what else can we do? We love that question. Like, ooh, like, what else should we do? And then you start ticking away.
Yeah.
But it's the key of two things. One, it's not just being pop-ups. It's being able to speak to the top of the funnel and the bottom of the funnel. Mm-hmm. And that's where we're talking about with step 1 and 3. And then 2 is really this brand new ability to identify who's on your site, which has been a horrific problem with 95% of visitors being unknown. And then the underlying third component is the business one, which is, if you look at, I analyze the entire industry, and there was one word that stood out across the board, and that is revenue. That is the word of 2025.
For sure.
If you start shopping around, when you go into like different SaaS sites, the word revenue is in the headline everywhere.
For sure.
And the fact we can immediately increase revenue with the cart abandonment stuff on site, that's the message I'm trying to really get out to speak to retailers.
And I'd flip that even a little bit more and say, you're not just increasing revenue, because there are ways, let's just say on the ad side, you can increase revenue very easily by just spending 3 times more, right? That doesn't mean that you've increased it profitably, though. You're increasing it profitably, like, because the cost to do these incremental changes is almost, I don't know how to say high, but it's very, very, very high margin on that. Which brings me to something else that you have talked to me about that I really appreciate, which is that protecting your margin as you grow. So you're getting to be an 8-figure business. What are your thoughts about protecting your margin then?
So I've always been a self-funded company. So sustainability has been always in my DNA. Yeah. I even studied environmental design in college so it's like the customer acquisition costs are so high now. And so if we can convert a visitor into a customer, it's worth so much more now. The cost to retarget those visitors to come back to the site, because that's a very hard, it's a question that doesn't get answered or asked, is how many visits does it take to to get to a sale? Like, how many licks to the center of the Tootsie Pop?
I was thinking the same thing when you said that. I was just like,
Talk about how overwhelming conversion is. It's like, these are questions you can get to once we've gotten the baseline out of the way.
Yeah.
But, you talk about margins, so it's like, if we can reduce the number of page visits, the number of emails sent, the number of texts sent, the number of contacts in your marketing contact, the number of contacts in your paid media, the quality of those contacts in your paid media, if we can build a very healthy pipeline and customer experience on site, the company is going to be much healthier and profitable.
I mean, it's, the leaky bucket effect to a point, right? Where it's like, if you're constantly taking a bucket and you're dumping out the water, but then it's filling up with, 2 more buckets, you're not getting anywhere there. I've just mixed 2 metaphors, but you get the idea of where I'm going with that. But it does make sense where it's like, if we're actually sending traffic and you're converting that traffic, everything that you're doing is much more effective and efficient. Therefore, your margins are in a much better spot. Therefore, you can spend more to do these other things that are going to continue to grow your business.
And what our job too, what I've really learned is you have to be able to quantify this. Vanity metrics are reality in our industry. We want to not just, we don't want to be a vanity metric company. We want to give you data, and attribution is another tricky one in our industry. So if we can start with your cart abandonment dollar values and show that direct, this customer was touched, this one wasn't, here's the 2 sales conversion rates on average, that's a clear win right there. And so for us, really getting that in front of our customers and our agency partners to present to the customer, along with the lead capture success. And then it's your job to show the retargeting ability for the ROAS there, which can easily be done. That's another kind of real eye opener of simplifying analytics. We always scratch our heads when we go into like big products and you get a report and you go to try to click on it to go deeper into it and it goes nowhere.
Sure.
Like we way overbuilt. Like, people don't need that. We need to get these high metrics in front of them so they can go to their boss and say, look what we've done, and move on from there.
So what are a couple of the vanity metrics that we need to be aware of and watch out for? And what are the couple of metrics that we should actually be looking at?
So when it comes to lead capture, we want to look at quantity first.
Sure.
We also then want to look at quality. So versus opt-in rates. So look at what you're capturing, look at where it benchmarks is to industry average. Each industry fluctuates a few percentage points. But the nice thing is we can test. So we have a full multivariate testing software where we can put in our strategies and A/B test so that you can easily go to your boss or yourself and be like, here's the value. Vanity metrics. What was the next question?
Just what are the vanity metrics that we need to be aware of to watch out for? They're like, oh, these are the ones people are going to try and trick you with.
Yep. So with the email too, making like duplicate emails, allow duplicate submissions. So these are running up numbers.
Sure.
And then we're also seeing practices where you're an email marketer and your simple goal is, your KPI for your own job is email list growth. We have companies that go, hey, we need to get to 500,000 this year. And they'll do whatever they can to get to that number. Well, that's a vanity metric because remember like Facebook likes? You used to be able to like, you could go buy Facebook likes.
Yep.
And this is where it gets into sustainability. You need an email verification field in your lead capture. You need duplicate email option to allow or not allow, because this is all costing your company money by pumping them into your CRM because you pay per contact.
For sure.
And this also goes along the lines with the anonymous visitor identification. We don't want to try to identify everyone on your site because the quality, depending on which ID resolution company you're using, the quality ranges quite dramatically in terms of match score. The match rate is what
Yep.
you hear. So you
Yep.
want to make sure you're looking for a partner that is not trying to match 100% of your traffic, just the high intent, and that the actual match rate is not 10%, but higher, up into the 50 to 70%. So you're putting quality in. It's quality in, quality out, trash in, trash out. So those are two metrics. Then, when we talk about conversion rate, you have to be careful about the lead capture side, because if you're too heavy on the lead capture, you can affect your sales conversion rate and your bounce rates, because you scare people away.
For sure.
You want to, if you're not focusing on sales conversion, you want to ask your pop-up vendor, ask them how it's affecting your sales conversion rate. And no email marketer is going to ask that, because they don't care. That's the CMO needs to be asked. So it's like, what questions should a CMO ask? The other one is with SMS. I could go all day on this stuff, but I'll finish with SMS. Is that, the last 3 years, we've seen this flood of, with a 10 of PostScript, Klaviyo's now in it with SMS. When you hand off your lead capture to a specific SMS company, they're going to trash your email subscription. They care about one thing, SMS. And so when I mentioned we increased the client to 80% SMS growth, is because we were being, well, hold on, let me back up there. We were able to do it because we removed some barriers. But as a consumer, ask anyone that's used a 2-step pop-up, which is email and SMS. They don't give you the coupon code if you don't submit a phone number, but they don't tell you that. And I think that is horrific, because it affects the sales conversion rate. If I give you my email, I expect, regardless, to get a coupon code. That customer experience is heavily affecting your conversion rates, and anyone that's CMOs, look at that experience on your site, and it's problematic if you're doing that.
That's where there's the balance, isn't there? Because you can do things that are effective mathematically in the short term, but damaging in the long term, but you don't know what that is unless you look at it from the lens of, how is this perceived by my customer?
The bottom line, it's business, right?
Yep.
If it helps us grow sales, great. But when we do it, let's think about lead capture and sales conversion together. And that's what our formula is. And what we've recognized is these singular solutions aren't looking at the end goal, the bottom line of the business as a whole. And that's where the sweet spot is.
How are the best brands today utilizing AI within this capture, identify, convert formula?
How are the best brands doing it?
How should they be? Would maybe be even a better question.
So, and that comes into the tools they're choosing to use, and how do we apply automation to the processes that you're running. Yep. So how can we as a system figure out what is the right time to show a pop-up? 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 7 seconds, based off your industry, everything. It's capturing that data and applying the learning from all of our customers to your customer. Pre-auto form fill with visitor identification. Like, how far do we go with auto filling the forms for you? People just want things done for them. Finding this balance of, and I'm just thinking, just talking through our products. What am I seeing clients do on site? To be honest, I'm trying to think of a good political response to give you on this one, because I don't have a straight answer. We're hearing a lot about AI. But I don't have a single client that's like, oh, AI did this for me. When it comes to imagery, yes. So the product display page, we're using AI for product imagery. For product content, titles, description, AI can write those for us. When it comes to, back end operations, I know there's tools in there. For us personally, from a brand, we're using Claude, ChatGPT,
Sure.
different tools that are helping us become more efficient. CS tools. When it comes to conversion, we're not there yet.
Yeah. Yeah. To your point, though, I think that one of the ways in which it can be is if you're stuck at coming up with some of these ideas for the imagery that you need or the copy that you need, like, great, here's 20 new ideas that you can test out. Keep testing it until you find the thing that's working better for you. So that's a great way to do it.
The AI we have right now is Travis in our minds.
Yeah.
Working with our clients and applying these practices, best practices and learnings to them. And then through that, we'll start plugging in the AI stuff.
If I handed you a $10 million e-commerce business, and this is kind of like cheating a little bit because you actually have an e-commerce business, but if I handed you one that's not your business, because you've obviously done probably more to your business than others, handed you a $10 million e-commerce business, they've already found product market fit. They've already done a lot of foundational elements to improve things. But I say, here you go, make it $20 million here next quarter. What are you doing? What are like the first 5 things you're like, okay, I'm going to do this, and this?
The turnaround. And it's not necessarily a turnaround. It's like the growth, right?
Yeah.
The first thing I do is I'd call up Justuno and deploy his discount ladder. If they're not doing direct mail, I'll probably plug that in.
Sure.
I'd analyze their
direct mail's a good one. Right? Yeah.
I'm plugging you, Drew. Because I have a lot of friends that are like asking me the same questions and different things. Mm-hmm. But like, let's say San Francisco Gap calls me up, goes, hey, come on in. I would stop and I put all the blinders on and look at their website analytics and all their customer data. I'd go, okay, where's the money? Mm-hmm. Great. Now, who are our customer segments and how are we engaging with them on our site? And I'd map out the customer experience and put data points to all of them and go, hey, what's our conversion rates per segment? What's our AOV? What's our time on site? What's our bounce rate? And I'd build out these profiles, attribute revenue to them, and then increase the sales conversion rate for each one of those incrementally.
I like that. I think I forget who shared it this morning. I saw it on X, but they showed 2 people. They were talking about customer personas, and they had, I think it was like Prince Charles and I don't remember who it was, some rocker. I don't remember who it was. Like it's so bad that I don't remember who it was. Right? Some rock star. It is. It's Friday. Like that's all I can blame it on. But they were like that. You looked at like their demographic details, and it was like, born in 1963, and then they were like, raised in the UK, wealthy, lives in a castle. It's like they were identical on like these personas, but they were the complete opposite actual like psychographic people. And so to your point, it's like sometimes we get a little bit too narrow in the way that we're trying to segment customers. If we can get a little bit more intelligent about the way that we are segmenting customers, I think that we could be a lot more effective in the ways that we're communicating to them. Because communicating to a rock star versus Prince Charles, very different ways in which you're going to communicate them to capture their intent.
So that's my plug. Like answering that question again, I would say I would appoint myself their chief conversion officer, and I would go in and optimize their entire conversion experience on the site. That is how 99.99%, if not 100% of websites can be optimized better.
Sure. That feels like one of those stats where it's like, 87.35% of all statistics are made up on the spot kind of thing, right? but I think that's almost like it has to be true that I think that you can get away with that.
Yeah.
What's one e-commerce myth that you'd love to kill for good?
That's easy.
Yeah, sure. That's good. It's not easy, is it?
An e-commerce myth. Man. I mean, you're asking someone 20 years. You think I'd have 1 million? What's like the that people know what they're doing.
For sure.
I mean, retail is it's brutal. Retail's brutal. Here's a myth, and I actually use this, is that every single consumer thinks that I'm going to speak to margins. That's the biggest myth.
Okay.
Because consumers believe when you go in and buy a product that the brand is making 90% margin.
Sure.
I think that's the biggest myth. Like they think brands are these huge companies with all this money, but the truth of the fact is that, and when I worked in the snowboard industry, that was the biggest eye opener, is that I grew up with all these snowboard brands didn't really exist. Ski brands, K2, you name it. And then I was all these like up and coming smaller ski brands, and we're working with all these snowboard companies. Truth of the matter is all these companies were broke.
Yeah.
Because all their money was in inventory. And so that right there, I think is the number one myth. And I feel so sorry for these retailers that are brands that some are doing well, some are making money, but they have a defective product, that costs them. Like, you have to return something that's broken. They are fighting to protect margin, and everyone's trying to steal it, whether it's customers, vendors, you name it. So that's my myth.
Man, that's a good one. That's a really good one. I want to talk a little bit about who is Erik Christiansen, because I like getting to know the human behind the machine. How old is your dad?
My dad's 84.
84 years old?
Yeah.
And I understand that he was wake surfing up in Tahoe recently. What was it like growing up with a dad who is 84, wake surfing in Tahoe? Like, how did that help shape you to be the business owner that you are today?
Well, yeah, it's a crazy story. Him asked me like, "Hey, I think I'm going to give wake surfing a try." Like, okay.
I love
my
that.
dad was an entrepreneur himself. My grandpa was too. So I've grown up around it. That was a big influence. My dad was also, I'm not going to say was, he still is a software developer. He still has
really
that he maintains accounting software for, which is insane. So, what was it like? I couldn't ask for a greater father, for like a role figure. They live just up the street from us, so I could see him all the time. Cool. And so it provided me that confidence and pathway to be both successful in business and personal life and family and everything.
I love that. I feel like a lot of people that I talk to on this show have so much inspiration from their parents in order to be able to be the entrepreneur that they are. There's more often than not, I feel like there was a belief in a role model of hard work ethics and things like that. It feels like I can't remember the last time somebody told me that there was something different like that.
Yeah. How about yourself?
Yeah. Neither one of my parents were entrepreneurs at the time. My mom was a teacher. My dad was an electrical engineer, right? My mom's retired though from that. But yeah, my mom had a sign. I haven't talked about this, I don't think, on the podcast. So, my mom had a sign on her door that said, "Practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect." Right. So Italian mom, perfect practice makes perfect. And so there was definitely an air of, if you're going to do something, do it right. That said, she helped us get a paper route when we were kids. So I was 11 years old when I had my first job. And so I learned entrepreneurship very, very early on, because in a weird way, that was kind of entrepreneurship. It was a job, but you did it. But you had to go knock on the doors and collect money. And then that turned into where she said, hey, because I'm 11 years old with a checkbook now. So I'm thinking I'm doing pretty well. It's like, hey, by the way, you can upsell them. That's not the word that she used, but it's like, some of them probably need their lawns mowed. Why don't you ask them if anybody needs their lawn mowed? oh, hey, in the wintertime, some of them might need their, their driveways shoveled. And so I got a really good taste of like that ability to earn money. And then I can remember like hanging out in the backyard with with my friends. We did not grow up in a very nice neighborhood at all. Most of the neighborhood that we grew up in was Section 8 housing. We were not, but a lot of blessing there. But so like this was a neighborhood where an 11-year-old kid, and I can remember ordering a pizza like that I paid for with my money for my friends in my backyard. And it's like, I am a baller right now, right? It's like, this is the coolest thing in the world. And so like that ability to be able to like make money, have some control over your future, your destiny, your finances. It was a really, let's say, I don't know, addicting thing to be able to say, there's some opportunity here. Like you can go do things. You don't have to like overthink it. If you don't like the situation, go do something about it. And I think it was a really, I don't know, very encouraging situation that my mom was able to put me into for that.
That's awesome. Yeah, and those people trusted you. You built up the trust.
Sure.
And it makes me think about coming full circle. We were talking about revenue in the last few months. I learned, I realized like I love making money. Like I love figuring out ways to like earn money.
Sure.
And digging into these different e-commerce sites, it's like, look, you can make money right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that we're not looking at just emails or it used to be Facebook likes, like we're talking about how to actually help them make money.
Yeah.
It changes the conversation you have with clients. And it's been really rewarding.
I love that. Yeah. I also understand that you have an addiction. It's not something you've talked about before. You're laughing because I'm not saying this seriously. You have an addiction to Junior Mints. When did this addiction start? How did you get it?
Up on me? It's like with kids. Like after I got 15-year break, I started eating nachos again.
Yeah.
And I found I was craving them. So like, and now my new craving is Junior Mints, and I love chocolate. And so you'd think that like a cheap chocolate, whatever, but they've got like the perfect dark chocolate shell with like the Here's the problem. I don't know what's going on. The Safeway here, I kid you not, is sold out of them and not
really.
The CVS doesn't have me. So like right now I'm dry. So
no. I gotta get you a supplier.
I don't know what's going on in California, but Hershey's is not releasing Junior Mints.
That's probably because nobody likes them. Now it's an unpopular opinion to like them. I actually do like them. When the kids get the Halloween candy, I'm like, I'll take your Junior Mints.
Yeah. Give them a shot, people. They're great. Back to your paper route. I have for any young entrepreneurs listening, age 11, high school, no one probably is, but if you have kids, I want to franchise this one. The garbage cans on whatever your garbage can is with Amazon and the boxes, and like it's a ask anyone. It's a chore taking out garbage cans now. It's a half hour sometimes.
Yeah. So breaking down all the boxes.
Yeah. People pay for pools. People pay for gardening. I've talked to my neighbors. People would pay money to a teenager to come take out the garbage cans, break down the boxes, stack them. You have to tie them up.
Yep.
And then for an extra $5, they'll bring them in.
Ooh.
The next day.
That's a really good idea. That is a perfect idea for, like you said, someone who's young, wants to hustle, work hard. You could have 50 people just in your neighborhood, right? That you go to every day and you're doing this. Oh man. You could ride your bike even if you want to go a little farther, have more than 50 people.
That's when I hear like, oh, my teenager went and submitted an application. There's no jobs this summer. It's like, dude, there's jobs.
Go make a job. Yeah.
Go make a job.
I don't think I ever actually got hired for a job that existed. I'm trying to think if I ever have. Every job that I ever applied for, they weren't hiring, if that makes sense. And they were like, okay, but like I had a reason for why I was coming along to help their business out until I eventually started my own business. I'm trying to think back, and I don't think I ever actually applied to an open position once in my entire life. So to your point, like go make the job. Speaking of that, what quotes do you live by? Is there like a quote that you're like, I've got this framed on my office wall or anything like that?
Need versus want. That's one I look at. I reference back to quite often. That's kind of more personal. Um, Work wise, and I don't even know if it's really I'm sure it probably needs to be updated. I don't know if it's in years past. I did the Sea Explorers program in high school, and the phrase in the cabins we stayed in was, there are no great men, only great challenges ordinary men must meet or face, which present day you probably have to update the language. But it really speaks to the fact that, like, look, everyone faces challenges. Like, it's all about just running into them. So in years past, that's been a good one that kept me going.
I like both of those. That second one reminds me of something that I've heard Alex Hormozi say, that I've quoted a number of times as well. I don't know if he was the original person to say this, but it's like, we want our kids to be strong, but we don't want them to go through the things that make them strong. We want our kids to be patient, but we don't want them to go through the things that will make them patient, right? Like, we want these characteristics without them having to go through the things that develop those characteristics. And that second one really reminds me of that it's like those hard things. It's like, celebrate those. Celebrate that you get to go through that. Celebrate that you get to figure out how to make payroll 2 weeks before your wedding. Celebrate that, because you're developing character that is going to allow you to do so many other amazing things in the rest of your life with that.
Yep.
And that ties into the need and want. Tell me a little bit more about this. Like you said, it's a personal one. Yeah.
In college, I had a professor, Babe Butler, in my managerial economics class, and like one of the last days of school, he wrote on the board some like key takeaways in life, and that he lives by, and that was one of them. If you're looking at something, it's like, if you literally, and because it's all about, for me, living below your means.
Sure.
And like the millionaire next door type model. And he wrote like, need or want on the board, on the chalkboard. I still remember it. And he talked through it. It's like, look, if you ask yourself, do you need this or do you want it? It will change your perspective on decision making.
I like that.
The most recent ones that I've been trying to work through is, as we try to focus in at work, a lot of people I talk to, it's like, God, like, I'm having a hard time focus. I'm working from home, etc. Is as we look at our task at hand and everything, like, you ask yourself, like, is this important or urgent? And if it's neither one of those, it's probably a distraction. And so that's been helping me prioritize my work days, especially working from home when I have about 1 million distractions around here.
For sure. We can all relate to that.
Like a barn to remodel.
Well, so I was going to get to that. I was actually going to call out, living beneath your means doesn't mean living in a barn, but you are fixing up a barn, which I've done as well. That is definitely a want, not a need, right? But like, it can feel like there's some need to it, right? Where we live, our house is built in 1870. The basement's not really a basement that you can fix up and be like, hey, here's our basement. So wintertime, in Minnesota, you're like, we need somewhere to kind of like get away from like just the main living area sometimes. And so we fixed up the barn to kind of be like that hangout space and office space and, a lot of other things. And so it's a really nice thing. It feels like a need. It's still just a want. You can live without it. There's plenty of people that live without it. Tell me a little bit about the needs/wants of your barn remodel here that's going on. And because you're actively remodeling it, right?
Yeah, I'm clearing it out now because it became like the ad hoc, as you know, storage. It's kind of a want. It's not necessarily a need right now, but we can add 800, 1,200 square feet.
It's a lot of
I can have my office out there, kids' playroom, get them out of the house, in-laws, etc. But then you look at like, how much do we need? Do we do it like with permits and do teams and spend 1,000, 1,500 a square foot, or do I do it myself, DIY, and just kind of do it?
Sure.
It's I want to learn construction, so I'm gonna try to DIY it.
I love that. I mean, I've done a lot now myself as well. got a router. So again, house built in 1870, but a lot of the charm had been taken out of it over the years. And so it's like, I want to restore the woodwork. I don't want to just put up just fake wood in here. So you got a router with all the different bits that I needed, right? So it's like we routed, my wife and I, some just beautiful woodwork that we've put in here, 12-inch baseboards and stuff like that we've custom routed. And I think there's something to be said for people who are working behind a computer all the time, like you and I, to just get away from the computer and build something with our hands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of value to it.
Yeah. So what is the part that you're the most excited about for the construction, and what's the part that you're the least excited about learning?
Well, you mentioned wood. There's some our place was built in 1912, so it's super old too.
Yeah.
The horse stalls have an extra layer of 4-inch wood that I can't wait to get out and refin
Sure.
it. So the woodworking, and then I think, what am I not looking forward to or learning? I can't wait to learn the electrical.
Yeah.
So foreign to me. And just, again, it's one of those things like confidence. I know I can, if I do it once, then I'll have that confidence. I'm to get through. And that kind of goes back to your parents and family, giving you guidance. It's I know it's not complicated, but it's I've never done it. It's scary. See, I know, but just go do it. I think I'm going to buy a kit on Amazon. This goes into your quote about teaching your children, blah, blah, blah.
Uh-huh.
You can buy a complete construction kit, mini kit on
really
online, where you can build a miniature model, a full scale, to scale. So I'm going to order one just to build it. So then I'll feel comfortable and understand a king stud versus blah, blah, blah. And I can do it with my son so he can learn about it.
I had no idea that existed. That's a great idea. My father-in-law was a home builder. He did pass away, unfortunately, pancreatic cancer. And so he wasn't able to help us with this project. But I remember I had a rental house back in Ohio when I lived there, and he came to visit me. And I had done a little bit, but I was not handy, right? I was raised by my mom. I had done some drywall. That was about the extent of my handiness. Well, I did some roofing, but I wouldn't have considered myself handy. I wasn't doing electric. I wasn't doing plumbing or anything like that. But I had a leak, I think, in the shower. And I remember him just walking me through it on the phone. He was like, okay, take it apart. What's the worst that happens? What's the worst that happens? The worst that happens is you've wasted a few hours and a couple $100 and you call somebody out to come and fix it. That's the worst that happens for the most part.
That's not the worst.
There are some extreme examples, but for the most part. Okay.
If it doesn't go well or takes longer, you're going to hear about this for years to come from somebody else in your house.
That is fair. That is fair. Now you've got me doing flashbacks to Home Improvement, Tim the Toolman Taylor, right? And every time he takes something apart and his wife Jill's like, Tim, what are you doing?
Yeah.
That's fun. What about yard work? I think you mentioned to me before that you really enjoy doing yard work too.
Yeah, that goes in with really kind of getting away from the computer.
Sure.
Or I get in trouble with that too, because I love yard work. And that was one of my jobs in high school, was weed whacking.
Yeah.
Gardening, straight cash, paid for my first car with it in this neighborhood I live in now, actually. And so
that's crazy.
It's hard for me to pay someone to do that stuff on my property, because I love doing it. But being a little older and having, wrecked my bodies a few times, the body aches. And so I'll go a little too hard, but
for sure.
Yeah, there's nothing more rewarding than cleaning up brush, trees, whatever.
I never verified this, but one of the doctors that I used to work with told me that there was a study that suggested that people who do yard work are more happy, right? And you can extrapolate that. Yeah, you can extrapolate that.
That's without a doubt.
Sure.
The truth.
Yeah, well, it's you can extrapolate it from all kinds of different reasons, right? One is it's you're getting the physical activity, therefore that's helping. Two, you're just surrounded by nature, the colors, the sounds, the dirt is helping to, you're picking up bacteriophages, which are killing the bad bacteria. There's a lot of reasons, but it's just plain and simple, doing the yard work, doing the gardening, significantly increases your likelihood of being happy.
Oh, you talk about mental health. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's really important. And we've gotten into a culture where it's almost like looked down upon. And
Mm,
also, like I mentioned earlier, like, oh, why don't we just pay someone to do that? Like everything's like, why don't we just pay someone to do it? It's like, well, I enjoy doing this.
yeah.
And it's also healthy. So
Mhm.
like I think we're gonna see people starting to get back into that a little, especially with how hard it is to find service providers as well in certain regions. And quality of service has gone down so much.
Sure.
Um, it's really empowering. So yeah, I
Mhm.
encourage people to get out there.
As Harley Finkelstein posted yesterday, high agency, low ego, right? It's like, yeah, I can get out there. I can do it.
Yeah, get
Um,
your hands dirty.
exactly. Erik, this has been a lot of fun talking to you. If people wanted to work with you, if they wanted to follow you, what's the best way for them to get in touch, stay in touch?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn. You can always find me on there. Pretty accessible. With Justuno, what we talked about today, you can just go to justuno.com/revenue formula, um, or just Justuno.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it's
perfect.
really accessible.
Well, again, I appreciate you sharing your time, sharing your wisdom with us. It's been a lot of fun to learn from you and learn about you. And everyone for listening, thank you very much for listening. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, William.
Thanks for listening to the Up Arrow podcast with William Harris. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.